Hey, are you poor? Do you suck at cooking and gathering? Do you want to make thousands of precious money in this cozy game that is no longer cozy because, oh my god, the chase to get resources right now is horrible? Does your house still look like this? If you've answered yes to any of these very generic questions, then you're in luck, for I, Twig of Vtuber, have come out of my week-long melancholy with an obsession and a dream. I, a pink-haired Genshin player, may just have a solution to your problems. Oysters. Yeah, you heard me. You see this scrunkly thing? This thing will save you. So many people ask every day on the servers, ooh, how do I make money? Rooms are so expensive. And get met with hunt, fish, profit. And you know, for a while I believed them, but no. How I was wrong, how all of us were wrong. Oysters have become my king. I am but a vehicle for their reign over the Palia economy. The thing about oysters is not only do they not require tools or consumables to pick up that you end up having to replace and repair, they're absolutely insane for leveling your cooking skill if you're not using cooking very often. It's quite literally sheer profit. You don't have to craft anything. I came across this knowledge when I was clay farming and came across a Sweeney Todd looking lad who wanted shells, and oh, how my obsession grew. With every oyster I picked up, my mouth watered at the potential earnings it racked in. Thus, I will show you how to oyster farm and how to profit, but with this knowledge, know that you have been inducted into the oyster cult, and I will not be having any sort of oyster cultist on oyster cultist crime in this community. The Twig oyster cultist plan of action and execution. First thing you will want to do is go to Bahari Bay, making sure that you have at least 4 to 5 slots in your inventory, since we won't just be picking up oysters. Make sure you also bring bug catching mechanisms, because not only will there be crabs, but also snails. Go to this location. What we are looking for are these glowy patches in the sand and shallow water. Mind you, if you fall off the ledge, you will fall out of the world and respawn where you last were. Keep this in mind so you don't get stuck like Beetle did on the first day that we played this twice. If you do get stuck, there is a go home button, but it's on a 30-minute cooldown, so good luck. You may see others at this location, but don't fear, for they are simply other oyster cultists. Simply greet them by spinning in circles wildly until one of you gets dizzy and falls off the edge. This is the circle of life. The glowy patches may have one of 3 things: coral, shells, and unopened oysters. I, though an oyster cultist, am also a disciple of the Trash King, thus I greedily swipe them all for increased profits. Do not fear this. The others in your area will also be able to harvest these forageables. Have you gotten all your shinies? Eradicated the perimeter of snails? Great. On to the next location. If you go a little further south, you'll eventually come across a hole in the wall separating these 2 areas. Me, being an absolute god gamer, I totally discovered this by myself and didn't follow someone I saw coming out of it. This will bring you to your second oyster-bearing location, new and improved with moss. This moss is supposed to be kind of rare. I haven't had a use for it, but I like to keep it, so it's spared in my capitalistic pursuits of selling everything and anything I get on my hands on. Side note, this also kind of works for any forageable. I just like oysters because I can also level up my cooking skill with it, because knowing me, I always only cook, I think, only 1 dish. Once you've, again, rid the area of moss, coral, shells, and oysters, and most importantly, snails, we move on to our 3rd location by going here, walking behind the cliff, around the dock, and to the waters once again. This process is great if you like to stop and fish, because you'll pass many gold stars 5-star fishing opportunities for your aesthetic pursuits. Einar would be quite pleased. We then continue to eradicate this coastline of any life. I usually stop when I have a full stack of shells or around 20 to 30 oysters depending on the harvest. Once you're home, the first thing I do is clear my inventory because oh my god, inventory is a nightmare when it's full. This is when you get to play the gambling game of this strategy, what I like to call the Pearl Gacha. You'll need to open all of your oysters by pressing the key that they're on and clicking repeatedly until you've sorted through all of them. All of your oysters will come with meat. This is natural. Some of your oysters will come with pearls. This is great. And a select few of your oysters will come with green pearls. This is fantastic, and you need to make sure to save one for your story progression as they are very rare. As of writing this, I've only encountered 4, but pearls are very RNG based, so keep that in mind. I will then sell all of the shells and coral since these are fairly common, and the sheer amount of them you will probably already have a few hundred, probably around 500. But Twig, what about the oyster meat and pearls? Well, the pearls are up to you. I'm a hoarder, so I keep the majority of mine, only recently selling after I have around 20 in my reserves as a stockpile in case I need them for something, anything. As for the meat, you should try and avoid selling it. Why? Grilled oysters. Cooking is one of those slower skills to level, which more than makes up for the time committed to roasting each meat before you sell them. It only takes a few seconds, but oh my god, it has single-handedly raised my cooking skills significantly. As for what food to eat, I recommend either grilled mushrooms, or if you're later in your playthrough, the spiced vegetable soup thingy is very simple yet very rewarding, giving 3 servings for each time you cook it, with a significant amount of EXP buff time on each. Twig is powered with this stuff. Do not underestimate it, and thus, consider yourself graduated from Oyster College, my little cultist. I recommend watching for my live streams if you'd like to play with me and maybe even join the Twig Vtuber community. Part of my motivation for playing this game is playing with all of you. But this video has come to a close. Go eradicate some snails!